want to start with the thing that like essentially all your projects have in common, which is Ethan Hawke. Tell me more about your relationship with Ethan Hawke and how you guys are just kind of a part of, all your work is kind of a part of his projects.
Well, we've known the dude for a long time. He's a family friend. We've known him for a really long time. He's just a great guy and a friend, and uh, you know, friends with our parents and we've just known him for a long time. The working relationship, I guess, started with Lie of the Mind. I guess when we first actually worked with him, we were doing Shelby and I did an art show in the West Village of instruments that we had made, and so we were kind of selling them as art objects, but we also played all the instruments on opening night. And we weren't really, we had always kind of thought they could be suitable for scoring or whatever, but we weren't really doing that at that time. We were selling them as art pieces, but we were playing them, because we like fucking around with weird instruments and stuff. We just always have. We've been doing that since we were kids. But Ethan came to that show, and Ethan was also getting ready to direct Lie of the Mind, Sam Shepard, revival. And so dude put that together. He came to the show, and he came to us. He's like, I'm doing this play, and you should do the music for it with these instruments, like. And we were like, yeah, no, that sounds insane. These are kind of handmade. Like we're just like fucking around, dude. We're not gonna like do music for anything. Yeah. But anyway, like somehow it turned out that we did do that, and when we did make a bunch of instruments, and we kind of learned our system then for scoring and for plays and movies on that, and built instruments for the main characters in the play, and then we just like took a couple months and learned how to do repeatable jams, and then we ended up doing the score for the play live every single night. And so that kind of started our working
Yeah,
relationship. And
that's fun.
since then he comes back to us, and we all had a great time on that, and that went really well. Everybody loved that show, and everybody loved the music, and the way we reinvented kind of doing the music, worked out. Could have gone either way, but like in the end it worked out, and people really liked it, and Ethan really liked it, and we all liked working together. So we just keep doing it.
Very cool. Shelby, you have any thoughts on the working relationship with Ethan Hawke?
Yeah, I mean, like you might take from that story, he's a really great collaborator and a real artist, and he recognizes, when people are doing stuff that he thinks is cool. He's not afraid to say, yeah, this is the shit right here, and so it's and it's always been that way, and he's fearless in that way, and we love that about him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what a cool dude to collaborate with.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, we're here to talk about his latest project that he stars in, The Wait, which premiered at Sundance recently. And did you guys get a chance to go to the festival?
Yeah, so I was there. Latham couldn't make it, but I was there, and so that was the first time I'd seen the, finished
Mm.
product, and got to hear it in the theater, and it was great.
I'm sure. My friends have had great things to say about it, and I'm sad that I missed it. But
Ah, good.
hopefully I get a chance to see it sometime soon. It's kind of cool that it takes place in the Pacific Northwest. I think Oregon is the setting for this story.
Yeah, we ended up for various reasons having to shoot it in Germany, in the Bavarian
Mm.
forest in Germany, but it stands in pretty well for the Pacific Northwest. It definitely feels like Oregon. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Um, so let's talk about approaching this score because I listened to it and there's so much tension. And I guess I kind of like got the sense that this is, kind of an action adventure kind of movie, but man, the amount of tension and suspense and anxiety that that exists in
Uh,
this score is compelling. Tell me about approaching the tone of this movie. Yeah, Latham, maybe you can start us off here.
Well, we always work from the script, like our system is basically we don't score to picture, we work from the script, we work from the characters in the script. We traditionally make instruments based on the characters in the script, and then we just mine those new instruments, hoping that the similarities in the build and in the the character of the instruments linking to the character of the characters and the narrative that by just mining those instruments we get that kind of tension. But look, we read the script and we have an idea about things that are required, and then we just we mine the instruments that are made for that thing. That's a big part of it. We don't take um we really try to tailor the instrumentation and the instrumentarium or whatever. There's some fancy word about. I've heard this
Orchestra,
before. Where you call,
art orchestra. Yeah.
yeah, our orchestra that's tailored already to the script and to the tone and to the narrative, right? So then you sort of we think we sort of can't go wrong with that too much because they're built for the piece, and then you just got to mine them. And then if we can go that next level, we're like really thinking of what's going on in the scene while we're mining them and getting them to like be that, kind of like it's just like a different process. It's a little bit more mysterious, maybe you could say, like process, but that's what we like about it. It's like really imperfect and really mysterious, and like we rely a lot on accidents and feeling and stuff like that. So it's sort of the opposite of that. We knew early on we weren't going to score a picture. We weren't going to like use traditional instruments and like try to do that. We were going to get the instruments to do it for us in a way. And that's also our wheelhouse. We really like that. We like dark, we like anxious, we like tense, we like that kind of stuff. We just find that really fun, and we like to build instruments that will do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and this story, it's a story about a guy who's in a real hard situation, and from early on, and he's got a single focus to get back with his daughter, and he's got a lot of kind of bad situations and bad people in his way, and so it's a tense, scenario for this dude, and it really the director, this guy Patrick McKinley, really killed it. You could really feel it. I had seen the rough of the thing, and we knew, and knew what the music was and everything, but the whole time I was watching it, I was stressed out.
And you know what? It's interesting because I like being stressed in movies. And so I listened to the score and I was like, this is going to be an incredible theatrical experience whenever I get around to it. It's just kind of this weird thing where it's like, you usually don't want to be stressed, but in a movie with a good story and it's just like
Yeah.
edge of your seat, I'm all for that.
Yeah, and Ethan's performance is incredible. This director did a great job. There's a lot of really, great people working on it, and it's all kind of come together in a really super satisfying way.
Mm-hmm. Latham, you've mentioned a couple times about building instruments. I kind of want to dive more into that. How do you build instruments uh, for how you choose to compose films? Is it, I mean, are you literally just assembling strings and boxes? Like, what does building instruments look like for you guys?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, as an example, we'll take you to like when we did The Kid. Vincent D'Onofrio directed this Western called The Kid that we did that we
Mhm.
really loved doing. It was actually our first feature. So we were really wanting like we need instruments for the main characters. So we want a unique, newly built instrument for each main character. And then, for example, like Billy the Kid. So for Billy the Kid, we're thinking, I don't know how we got around to this, but in the end, okay, so Billy the Kid is like a small tree that was growing above his grave. Like, dude's dead now, but we're picturing there's a grave and there's like a small tree, like a 6 foot tall, like baby tree that's growing. And people come to the grave and they put stuff on it and they hang necklaces on it and jewelry and stuff. And they come there because they love Billy the Kid because he's famous. I'm like, okay, so it's a tree. So we like get a tree and then we put a couple strings on the tree, like put some holes in it, put some tuning pegs in it, put like some piezo's on it. Maybe we put like magnetic pickup on it, couple strings. It looks cool. We decorate it so it looks like an art piece like we did in our first show. So you stand back and you look and you're like, okay, here's this like 6 foot tree and it's got 2 strings on now and it's electrified and it's got 1/4 inch jack and it can go in to whatever. So we do low tech through high tech, right? So that's a really low tech instrument. We don't know what the fuck it's going to do. 2 strings, 2 tuning pegs. It can be tuned. So we'll tune it like, basic dulcimer tuning or something, maybe DA, maybe because that's what Billy would want. This looks like him. It sounds like him. We kind of play it. Maybe we put it through a pedal and we just start mining it and we go, this is Billy. So, okay, so what's the scene we need stuff? What's a Billy scene? So here's a Billy scene, Billy with another character. We built another instrument for the other character. All right, let's play these 2 instruments together because the scene has these 2 characters. So let's play these 2 instruments. Let's mine them. Let's play. We'll play for like an hour. And so, to start with, and we just mine it like that. So
Mhm.
yeah, we've gotten pretty good at like, we use a lot of piezo's, we use a lot of pedals. We've built a lot of instruments and we're looking for cool accidents. We're looking for them to do things we never heard before. And the imperfection of the build, we've gotten better, but if you're doing something on a tree or whatever, it's got bend and it's skinny and you can only do this and you can only play that. And there's like 4 notes that it will do. And so how do you get good with those? Like that type of thing. So it's about mining the instrument and the imperfections of it. And just like us listening to what it wants to do, really, instead of imposing our will on it as much. So if you make something like that, it's going to do some cool stuff. And if you're good at listening, and you're thinking of the character and you're trying to just play and be creative and have fun, and you get it. So we've done things with saw blades, and so we'll use piezo's for that. We do a lot of things with strings, and we'll either do magnetic pickups or piezo's. But again, it comes down to piezo's a lot because piezo's let you get the sound that whatever the fuck the thing is doing that you're making. So, and yeah, it's a lot about installing tuning heads into weird stuff. And so we learned how to do. It's a lot of like woodworking, like with chisels and shit. We have a bunch of tools, and we're putting holes in it. We're like, well, let's put a string across here, and like, oh, we like source. We've done this before in Vermont. We'll go source. Cool. We'll go to stores, like antique stores and stuff, and look for stuff and go, oh, that looks like the character. Like as another example, we bought like a mantelpiece from an old fireplace, and we just thought it looked like one of the characters. Another time we just got this wooden door and we thought this looked like another character. We did a shotgun blast through the middle of it, and then we put some. So it's like it's a visual art thing a lot of times to start with, and then it becomes like a building music thing after that, and we just see what we end up with, and then we mine it.
That is so fascinating.
And to add to that, what he was saying about the kind of accidents is
Yeah.
After having made music for a really long time, sort of the things that are least interesting to me are generally things that I know how to do, or or that I did. And the most interesting things tend to come from the a process or an approach that leaves a lot of room for things that we don't know how to do or didn't mean to do, and that we spend a lot of time and a lot of thought in setting up processes for that.
That's super cool. That's really awesome. What do you do with these custom built instruments afterward? Do they go to like museums or art displays?
We've sold many of them to people who are interested, and then a lot of them live in my studio or this house.
That's so cool. That's really awesome to hear. I love that like unique approach to um, m- pairing what you're doing with like this visual art. So this musical art with visual art. That's such a cool process. I'm curious, so with you guys, composing together, I'm really interested in wanting to know who has which strengths. And so Shelby, maybe I'll start with you. What do you think? Who do you think has what strengths as you guys approach composing a score?
Well, it's kind of like there are definitely areas that both of us are more sort of experienced in or whatever. But I think the thing that is kind of special working together is that we're brothers, and we've been making things and making music and doing weirdo projects together since we were little kids, and so a lot of it is kind of like both of our brains together in a room kind of do something special that you know doesn't happen if we're not together.
Mm-hmm.
Would be my answer to that.
Yeah, Latham, what do you think about your guys' strengths and how maybe you guys complement each other?
Yeah, we definitely do. I mean, it's been unspoken, but I think I feel like Shelby's a really good natural producer, and he can hear the end result. I don't know. I feel like Shelby always know. I feel like a lot of times when we're working, he's helping to tell me what to do. A lot of times it'll start off. A lot of times it'll start off with me wanting to mine the thing first.
Hmm.
Like it'll get finished, and I'll be like, okay, let me see what this can do. And so that's a starting place that we do if I'm being forced to like talk about roles. It will sometimes start like that. So I'll start to mine something, and Shelby hears things, and he's working the pedal, and Shelby's really good technically as well, as a producer and as a player and everything. But I mean, that seems to be a beginning process that works quite well. I'll start to mine it, and he starts to hear stuff, and he starts to hear stuff where it can go. So he'll start being like, let's do this, or he'll put in a certain pedal, or he'll put it through a certain effect, or he'll say, hey, do more of that, or do less of this. So there's something about that initial process that really helps us get started. And then, but look, we both like to do all of it. So we both do all of it at different points. You know, we end up playing together. Probably some of the most fun we ever have is just each of us on a different instrument, mining it and learning it, and then recording for a long time, thinking about what we're trying to do, thinking about the narrative, thinking about the characters, and just really playing for a long time. I mean, that's the most fun, you know, just mining the stuff together and playing it and looking for accidents and getting to the truth of stuff. And we, you know, there's always like a magic period, you know, where we have it, we've mined it, the thing's doing what it wants to do, and we're not controlling it too much. And it's congruent with the narrative of the story. It's congruent with the characters, and there's magic times that we're looking for, sort of lightning in a bottle that happens through that process.
Yeah. And we've always sung together too. And so, you know, we do a lot of harmonizing together, and sometimes that's more or less apparent in the work that we do. Sometimes you can kind of tell it's people using their voices, and sometimes you can't. Sometimes we use our voices sort of more as instruments. But that's kind of part of it too, I think, is that there's a phrase in country music called blood harmony. And when family members sing together, it kind of does something special, and I feel like we respect that and try for that in all the stuff we do.
Yeah, we always sing together. We think we're unique in composers in that way, and that we always make sure we have some singing on all of our scores, that
no matter
in
what,
there in some way, no matter what. Yeah, we really like doing it, and so
even if we have to hide it.
I just want to like follow you guys make your next score. Like this sounds like such an interesting process to like observe. I've never heard anything like it, so it's
fun.
really
Yeah,
cool.
we enjoy it. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Which is a big part of it. Trying to, you know, music is supposed to be fun.
So when people watch The Wait, I know a lot of people don't always pay attention to the score, which I think is a major crime. Music is one of the most important things, to me at least, in a film. It really helps elicit whatever emotional reactions we're going for in complementing what's happening visually on screen. But if people go and watch The Wait and they do pay attention to the score, what do you want them to say about it? What would be the most flattering compliment that you would like to hear someone say about the score when they watch The Wait?
Oh, that's an interesting question. You know, Padraig says, which is smart. He's not looking for music to do the sort of primary emotion of a scene. He's looking for it to do the sort of second or third kind of thing for a scene, and that's how it works best. And you know, I'm not sure exactly how to answer that question, other than you know, I think a lot of times score is super powerful because it comes in through the back door, like you said. Some people don't pay attention to it, but they're feeling it. And so I guess I would just the best thing I could hear from somebody is that they felt it.
Latham, what about you? What do you think?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's not the major part of the, you know, it's supporting, right? It should support whatever the filmmaker's trying to do. It should support the narrative. It should double up whatever the filmmaker's trying to do and make you feel that even more. I mean, ideally, but then, you know, as composers or people who like music, I feel like I listen to movies differently. I do want to hear a bold score. I do want to hear interesting choices. I do want things to be out front. I think Patrick's done a good job on this, and that I think when you see it, you'll see it is a little more out front. The score is not as backgroundy as it can be in some other things. He's been a little more bold with the choices and the volume of it, I think. So look, it's supposed to be supporting, but and that's a tough one. What you want people to take, you want people to come out and go, I liked the movie even more because of the score. I mean, that's selfishly what we,
Hey.
what we like. We want to impact people with the music. We want them to have a visual and an audio experience, right? You have that through the hearing of the words and the sound design, but then also through the music. So hopefully, if it's done right, you come out and you go, the score is awesome. The
Mhm.
cinematography is awesome. The score really helped. I was already loving, the bridge scene, but then the score on top of it made it just even more. So you should have that, I think, the experience of being blown away in multiple ways,
Mm.
right? Both through your ears and your eyes and your body and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So if we can contribute to that part of it, then we're obviously thrilled to do that. And then the other side of it is, if we do stuff and it just gets kind of buried, that can be a little disappointing. We don't look like, you're talking about people don't necessarily notice the score. I notice now so much when I don't notice the score. Or I'll say to my wife, like, did you notice the score after a movie? And she'll say, no, I didn't remember any of it. It'll just be buried, or it's kind of quiet, or it's really weak, or it's not inspired or something. So we want the opposite of that. We want people to be moved by it and notice it. I
Yeah, I
think
mean,
that's better.
inspired is a good word. It's like whether, no matter how it's hitting, because every movie's different, and the language of every movie is different and whatever. No matter how it's hitting, you definitely want to feel like there was some inspiration there, um, like like oh shit, they weren't just phoning that in.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Totally. Well, I mean, from what I've heard with the score, it does sound very bold, very tense, and I can only imagine that it serves as a wonderful complementary component to what is going to be, I'm sure, a great theatrical experience.
All right,
So,
you have to let
um,
us know. Yeah.
I will for sure. Before we go,
Okay.
Shelby, I have one more question for you. I see you sipping on a drink. I have to know what your drink of choice is tonight.
A friend of mine mm, has a family member who makes rye
Mm,
whiskey in Brooklyn, and so I'm
very
drinking
cool.
his Jaywalk rye.
Jaywalk rye. All
Yeah,
right. I'm a
it's
whiskey
delicious.
guy. I
It's
do
delicious.
I
Yeah.
do like exploring new whiskeys, and ryes particularly are a favorite
Jaywalk
of mine.
from
Jaywalk, all
Brooklyn.
right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go look it up.
Yeah.
So, guys, congratulations on the wait premiering at Sundance and for your work
Thanks.
on that film. Like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing it when I get the chance to, but I'm glad I've got to hear the score, and I've got to meet you guys. So I'll be following your career, and I hope for the best for you guys. Okay.
Thanks, man. Sam,
Cool.
nice
Thank
to
you,
meet
man.
you, and thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks
nice to
for
meet you.
thanks for
Yeah.
doing this. This was fun.